back to Recovered Relics. My name is Jody. This is my son Micah. We're actually out here just enjoying the weather in Southern Alberta at a 1920s homestead. We're excited to see what we can pull out of the ground. If you like what you're seeing or watching, please consider subscribing. We'd sure appreciate it. Let's go find some treasures.
Hey guys, so my first good target, right where that knife is, coming up at about an 83, 85, sometimes down to a 79. Hoping it's going to be something good. Let's see what comes out of the ground. Well guys, your heart skips a beat when you see this come out of the hole. Keep in mind, we are in Canada and not in the US. When you see something gold come out of the ground, it can sometimes be just this. And, oh, if we get that in frame, sorry. We just got a modern loonie. Oh, I don't know if that's really getting in frame, I can't really tell. But anyway, nonetheless, that's what we got right there. Modern loonie. So, Micah was over here just poking around in the 60s. And this little cap came out of the ground. Just a little, I think it's probably made out of tin. Nonetheless, not too bad. Something neat. Well, so far guys, we're not doing too bad. As you see right in front of me, you're going to see two things down here on the ground. One Micah just got out of the ground. It doesn't show the age of this place. It is only a 1985 coin, so coppers do ring up pretty good here. So that's not too bad. We got something out of the ground. But then I just grabbed this out of the ground. It is an old escutcheon of some sort. I don't know what that would be off of. There's no writing on it that I can see, but super cool. Again, that rung up pretty high in the 80s, so very excited. Let's go on to the next. So in my hands, I have a piece of cut, I think it's copper wire that Micah has found, and then right beside that, can't even tell if I'm in focus here, something like a hook. I believe it's made out of aluminum. It's very light. Not entirely sure what that is, but maybe get in the light there a little bit, or maybe in the shadows here. Nonetheless, interesting. Oh guys, let's see here. Just a big chunk of melted lead, but Micah just pulled this out of the ground. Rang up in about 30s on his machine. But nonetheless, that's pretty cool. We are getting some date here, because lead doesn't usually come up until, you know, it was used back in the 1940s, 30s, 20s. So yeah, not something modern, but nonetheless, very cool. So, the hazards of metal detecting. Yes, I have this in my hand that's bare, but my other hand has a glove on it. Just because these are what you get out of the ground sometimes. So you got a light bulb base, and man, you do not want to get cut out here. Not a good thing, but nonetheless, that's what I found. And our usual 22 caliber bullet found. We find so many of these, obviously. Wild Wild West. Here we are. Guys, I am right in front of the house, kind of, by an old tree. Trying to do my best to get around the trashy little bits and stuff, but nonetheless, it's pretty good. Doing pretty good. Just got this awesome signal. I'm just going to show you here in a second. So in my hand, I have a copper ring, O-ring bezel of some sort. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but that's definitely aged. I don't know what that would be off if it's all smushed up, but we're going to continue to look around this old tree. Old trees, always a good place to find treasures. Well guys, it looks like this is the day of double finds. Micah finds this filter off of something, I don't know, it's probably a fuel filter off of something. And then I find a 2001 modern penny. Bah, bah, bah. Well, hopefully we get into something old here soon. Guys, so excited. I don't know if you can read that. It says F.H. Walker, Cayley, Alberta. So that's near the area where we're at in Canada. A badge. I don't know. It's only aluminum, so I'm assuming it's a kid's badge. Got nicked up on the back a bit there. It's not heavy. It's very light. But that is so cool. Very exciting. Wild West piece of relic history. Who knows what kid was out here playing and dropped this. Or maybe it's some other badge that we have no idea about. But very, very cool. Well, guys, here we go. We got something of some date, some age. 1951 wheat penny. Micah just pulled that out of the ground. Just awesome. He was also the guy who found that badge out here in front of the house. Not in too bad a shape. But yeah, getting older. Let's go. Guys, so I buttoned up the hole and I got the same signal. And look what I found. Second one in better shape. It has some sort of a bird on it. I don't know. You can see that it says ES, then DEBS, then SPES, NOS, and then the last part I can't really tell. I guess that's Nostra from the second one. What is this? Is this a military button of sorts? I don't know, but very cool. I am excited to search this up to see what this is. On to the next. We're just right in front of the house, and we just found this. I think it might be a part of an old currycomb. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell, but it's in pretty beat up shape. That's pretty neat. Great signal right here, guys. About an 85 to 91. Hoping that it's something amazing. Let's see what we got. Yeah, 1989 penny. Yeehaw. Again, another double find, people. Micah found that backing of a pin right there. So that's pretty neat. No writing on it. I'm trying to get this in here. This key. And I can't really read what it says. Definitely says made in Canada on the top. I just don't know what else it says there. It says something, maybe livestock key? I don't know. Anyway, we'll clean it up later. That's pretty neat.
What a blessing it was to be out at this homestead in Southern Alberta. We found some amazing things. Things we didn't expect to find. Some things we kind of thought we might find, but nonetheless, just an amazing time. The house that we were at, the homestead we were at, is less than a mile away from an old stockyard. At least that's what we're told. And that stockyard happens to be over 100 years old. So we're hoping we get back out there to explore more and see what comes out of the ground, recover some relics. We're excited to have you along. Please consider subscribing and like the video. I'm going to do a little bit of a wrap up here, and then we'll say goodbye. So guys, here are the finds. As you see up in the corner there, we have our great pile of trash. It's not everything we got. Obviously, it's not even great, but it is what you find out in the field, and you gotta expect to pull out trash to get treasure. Nonetheless, we're just going to get into this and kind of show some interesting things as well as some bangers that we found. Really excited about what we did find, and let's just get into that right now. So, over here in the corner, this was one of the first targets pulled out of the ground. Micah pulled this out. It is what I believe a thermostat would be out of an old either tractor or truck or something of that nature on the farm. It does have some writing on the bottom. I don't know if you can see that, but it says HRD 11-48. I don't know if that's just a part number. Really haven't looked up that closely into that one. But nonetheless, going on. Got this side of the ground is kind of just weird. That's the only reason why I kept it aside. Just had this gooey goo on it. But I don't even know what that is. Probably just a cap off of something or other. Then you've got your typical 22 shells. I guess I could probably date these if I looked at manufacturing and all that kind of stuff. If I could get writing off that, not all that interested. Then we have a flange here, some holes. It is iron and it is rusted, but it was kind of neat. Anything that kind of gives a little bit of presence to it. I was getting excited as I found this. It is copper. I could bend it back into shape. It might be off a lid. Nonetheless, it's pretty indescript, but it has some age to it, so I was very excited. I was like, okay, here we go. And then we found a cap, just an aluminum cap. And then as I go over here, Micah found this piece of lead. He was pretty excited because this shows age. This shows age to a property. When you find lead of any sort in chunks, it typically is showing some sort of age to the property. This could be a squish bullet. I don't know. It looks more burnt or melted, I should say, than anything. But neat to find. Again, an age of show of age, I should say. And then here, I pulled out of the ground close to there, where that was found, this brass escutcheon. And although it's somewhat ornate, it is not fully ornate. Not sure what it was used for. I have not tried to bend it back to shape. There's no writing on it. But it's really neat to find stuff of that kind of nature in the ground. Then we have what I think is an old curry comb. Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody in the comments. This was right in front of the house, the homestead. So this could have been used maybe on an old, on a horse as they were coming in to the house or out of the house or whatever, just to brush the horse down. Nonetheless, cool. Then coming down here, oh, sorry, let's go over here to kind of the not great stuff. Big flat washer. Find those, they scream, sound amazing. Found a brass topped filter, tiny little filter, in the ground, and it doesn't have any writing, so it's kind of indescript. Not sure what that would have been out of. Maybe a tractor, maybe a little yard tractor, I don't know. Just modern junk there. Going into this is an old key, and I don't know if we can get close enough. I think it says Dominion, maybe? Dominion lock, I guess. Anyway, then it says in the middle something like live key and key, made in Canada. That's older, nothing too crazy, but had some age to it, so I wanted to show that. We'll wait for that later. That's cool. And then down here we have a couple of things. Just a piece of brass, a rivet. We find these. They sound amazing. You think you're getting something great, but it's not. What this was the backing to a pin, and it looked gold. It looks gold. But I think it's just gold gilt, and I do think it has some age to it. It's got fancy all around it. It's really neat to find things that are a little ornate. Sometimes it tells of a certain period of time, but who knows with this one. Anyway, cool. Then we get into some of the Canadiana stuff. Your typical um, loonie. For those who are American, maybe you don't recognize this coin. Maybe you do, but this is our dollar, equivalent to the dollar bill, sort of. Anyway, and then a bunch of pennies. One which was a wheat cent, and that Micah found in front of the house. It says 1951, I believe, on it. So that was neat. That got some age to the house, but obviously we're looking for things a bit older, maybe 50 years older, and that's when this comes into play. So I found 5 buttons. Missing was the garment it was attached to, and I was thinking hopefully I don't find the person that was attached to the garment, but nonetheless we didn't find any of that. What we did find, or what I did find in the ground, came out kind of like this for most of them, broken and disheveled. Not great, but with gold gilt on them. And I was very excited, very, very excited to find these. The history behind these is that, first of all, they have an eagle in the middle, and I'll show that in a little bit here. I don't know if we can get a better idea on this one. As you see, there's an eagle in the middle, and that typically represents military. So I was excited. I was like, oh my goodness, I found a military button. Not just one, but 5. If you look at this closely, around the edge it says ESXDEVSSPESNOSTRA. And from what I could find in research of these buttons, they originated from, I believe it was the Revolutionary War, which was in the 1700s, of which these buttons were worn by Hessian soldiers, or Hessian soldiers. I don't know how it's pronounced. But nonetheless, that soldier had a job as a mercenary. So they were mercenary soldiers. To what avail they were mercenaries, I don't know. What they did, we obviously don't know that either for most of records. But they were special forces for some sort of way, and didn't have a great affiliation with a military faction other than they were hired to be mercenaries. And when I flip this over, you'll see that it's more of a modern shank on it, and it looks like it was probably created in a machine of some sort. So it's not all that old, but old enough that the clothing is gone, rotted away. So it does give some age to this. Who knows, 1920s, 30s, somewhere in there. If you're thinking about the gap between that time, 1700s, 1920s, why is this in Alberta? And why did I find it in the ground with a bunch of other buttons? What kind of things were going on at that time? Or how did it get out there? Nonetheless, very interesting. If you guys have any comments on this, I know that these can be copied and you can buy them online. This does not seem to be a copy. This seems to be old and gold gilded. So yeah, I wouldn't say that. This is not modern by any means. So why was there a mercenary soldier kicking around at Southern Alberta near an old stockyard? Anyway, so cool. Very excited. And then we go on to the last thing, guys. I'm so excited to show you this. So Micah found this just a couple of minutes earlier. It does give the name of where we were close to, or in and around Cayley, Alberta. And it says Canada, and then it gives this name, F.H. Walker. I believe the family is still around that area. what I believe this is, guys, which is so cool, is an Alberta Police Wallet badge from the 1920s and 30s. It's a wallet badge. That's what I believe it is. The reason why I believe that is because the commissioner of Alberta in that time, in the 1920s, just happened to be in a previous life a Texas Ranger. And that's why it looks very much like a Texas Ranger's badge. This individual came up to Alberta and became the commissioner of the police force, and he designed the badge very much in the likeness of a Texas Ranger badge. Isn't that amazing, guys? Isn't that just simply amazing? We did nick it. It isn't made of precious metal. It is aluminum, so it's made of a modern metal, but at the time in the 1920s and 30s, you would expect that to be the case. Maybe it's tin, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm suspecting that it's aluminum. Anyway, nonetheless, we are going to try to somewhat, I guess, return this to the family, the local family, because I believe that this is part of their history and they may not even know this existed. So cool. This is part of it. Why we do this. Recovered relics, recovering history, and just sharing it with people. If you guys are interested in following us and watching our adventures, please consider subscribing. Turn on notifications if you're not really into subscribing and you just want to follow us kind of indiscreetly. We just would so appreciate it. Guys, we hope that you're along with us on the next adventure. For now, peace out, recovered relics, and bye.